This is another good, wonderful interview with the flavor of jazz cuisine, introducing my man, Frank McComb. Man, wonderful,
What it
wonderful.
is. What it
It
is.
is everything. Like I said, I
Yeah.
appreciate you wanting to do this with me and really have some good conversations, just some fun and
hmm Oh
relaxing.
yeah.
Now that we can really get connected again, it was a pleasure meeting you too at the NAM show.
NAM, yeah, the NAM convention. That's right.
Man,
That's right. Same here, man.
so the booth
Pleasure.
that you were at, who was the people at the booth that you were doing your demonstration at?
That was for Rhodes. Rhodes pianos.
For Roach? Yeah,
Yeah, Rhodes pianos. Yep.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
Rhodes
awesome.
pianos. I've been playing Rhodes pianos since I was probably 15, 16 years old, something like that.
Yeah,
And even in the 80s, when everybody stopped playing them, they called the Rhodes a dinosaur. But
yeah,
I never stopped playing it. I was a teenager lugging that thing around, man.
uh-huh.
And finally endorsing the company after all these years. Finally endorsing the company, so I'm happy about that.
That's
Real
great.
happy about that.
Well, I did a
Yeah.
great interview a long time ago with Gerald McCulley and Benjamin Beauvais.
Down the road story. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I actually did the interview for that when it first came
Mm,
out. When they first did the
mm.
DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was cool. That was cool.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, they brought me in to do the second one that they did, the second DVD that they did. I was
Oh,
lucky to
nice.
get in there. Yeah, me and Al Jarreau, we
Yeah.
uh we we recorded on the same night. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. He was the nicest guy, man. Al Jarreau was the coolest dude. He was so nice.
Yeah,
Nicest guy.
and we're gonna miss him big time.
Yeah.
We
Oh yeah,
really
man.
are. So I wanted to get with you too because a lot of people are familiar with you, but a lot of people may not be familiar with you and your works and all the things that you've done through life. So I guess we'll go from ground zero. What got you into playing piano? I know you started out with your auntie teaching
hmm
you, when you were in the church.
Yep. She gave me 3 piano lessons. Three.
Three.
Yep. She worked with me for 1 hour for 3 Sundays. So do the math, it was 3 hours piano training. Then she stopped teaching me, and I'll just keep it real.
Yeah.
And I was told that she had to stop teaching me because she took on a new job. No, she actually stopped teaching me because she got tired of hearing the discouragement that was going around. Oh, he's I don't know why you teaching him. He's dull, he's stupid, he's not gonna get it.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
and she made sure she gave me the pieces that I needed and
Right.
told me to keep pressing. And sure enough, I'm scratching up all of my mother's records. you
Right.
know, listening to Herbie Hancock, George Duke, Joe Sample, with the Crusaders, of course.
Yeah.
Ramsey Lewis, Patrice Rushen, Chick Corea,
Mhm.
and this person that was told, the person that was supposed to be too stupid to learn to play was
Yeah.
actually called the 27th greatest keyboard player of all time by Music Radar.
Uh,
So whoever's watching this,
yeah.
somebody speak ill over your life, you rebuke that and show them wrong.
That's right.
You show them wrong. You show them
Right.
wrong because my whole life is a testimony. I'm a living witness. You can
Yeah.
make it.
So
Oh
how
yeah.
about that?
How
How,
about that? So I started there, and I ended up getting in the bars, started playing in all the bars in Cleveland, Ohio, with all the older guys, and they would take me under their
right.
wing, protect me the whole nine. And by the time I was 19, I started my first trio, Frank McComb trio. And
Uh-huh.
at 21, I was on the road with the Rude Boys. You know, yeah. No, those ages right. Let me see. I was in the bars at 15, started my first trio at 17. At
Mm,
19, I began rehearsing with the Rude Boys, and we ended up going on the road. Rude
right.
Boys, Laverne, and OJ. So my first touring gig, I was musical director. So that led to moving to Philadelphia after that tour to work with Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, commonly known as the Jazzy Jeff, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and I ended up working for Gamble and Huff while I was there. Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff in
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to talk, how did that come about? Because those guys are legends.
hmm Yeah. Well, what happened was while I was there working with Jeff and Will, there's these two guys, it was brothers, Mark and Sherman Byers, that they actually looked out for me in Philly, put me up for a little while and helped me find my first place. And I ended up moving down the street from Gambling Hub, right on the corner of 13th and Spruce. And they were on the corner of Broad and Spruce. So it was just a walk right up the street,
Right.
one block up. And every Saturday, I would go up there and they introduced me to them and they just took the chance. And I went up in there and I became a session musician with working right alongside of Mr. Huff, Kenny Gavin and Leon Huff.
Nice.
And that's where I was actually, as they say, discovered.
Yeah.
I was found by a gentleman named Steve McKeever, who was also responsible for Jill Scott, but he found her years after finding me.
Okay.
He signed me to this label that he put together called Mojazz, which was the jazz division for Motown at the time.
I remember that label. I remember that.
Yeah, that's how, and that's when I officially became a recording artist.
Mm-hmm.
November 9th, 1992, I moved to LA and never looked back. And
Nice.
I did what I thought was going to be my first record for Motown in 1995. I was there from 92 to 95. I think I left, I think the top of 96 or something like that. But I never got a record out. We did an album, but it never got out. Not legally. It was bootleg years later. Yeah. But there's a whole nother story within itself.
Yeah.
But that's where the beginning. That's how I got my beginning. That's why I got my start as a recording artist.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So even as you were mentioning about you only had a couple of lessons with your aunt, how did it progress for you to still keep moving forward and playing, and really learning, how to play on the keys?
Well, it's crazy because I was about 3 or 4. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life way back then because I watched my aunts. I had 2 aunts, Evelina and Liz. They were singers and pianists, right? They both played piano and they both accompanied themselves, But I have quite a few aunts. They all sang and they would sing together. And either Liz or Evelina would play. But then you had my aunt Naomi, my aunt Stella, my mama, Liz and Evelina all singing together, harmonizing the whole night. But I always thought it was so cool that one could play not just guitar, but play piano for themselves and sing. I always liked that as a kid. And then the records that they brought home, man, there was some of everything in the house. Yeah. And then I don't know how, but I knew Stevie played for himself. I mean, most kids at 2, 3, 4 years old, they don't know that. But I knew Stevie played for himself. I knew Donny Hathaway played for himself. I knew Billy Joel played for himself. I'm just a kid looking at something that I really like. It's really what it is. I'm looking at something and I'm really liking, I'm really digging. And I knew I wanted to do that from the time I was a toddler. And my first instrument was drums at the age of 8. But I never got to perfect the drums because my Uncle Eddie at the time he was my aunt's husband, my Aunt Evelina, the one that taught me piano. Okay. He was her husband, He played guitar. The auto mechanic, but he played guitar in the bars. He bought us our first instruments. My first instrument that was bought for me was a guitar because I wanted to be like him, thinking he would have time to teach me to play. Yeah. But I was intrigued. I loved the drums because my cousin Clarence played drums in our church growing up. We had a little bitty church about the size of my room right here. And I was raised in that little holiness church right there in Cleveland. And I watched my cousin Clarence play drums every Sunday. And sometimes he'd let me play, So but I got guitar because my Uncle Eddie took us all to the music store and said, pick your instrument. So I figured, okay, well, let me be political. And I want to learn from him. He plays, so he can teach me. So I got guitar. So I never learned it. And to this day, I still don't understand guitar. I just don't get how you can get so much out of 6 strings. But you got masters that do. So my brother Andre was a smart one. He was a smart dummy. My brother Andre was a smart dummy. He got the drums. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I can learn on his kit. Well, I call him a smart dummy because he was smart enough to get the drums, but dumb enough to not play. But I thank him to this day for getting those drums. Yeah. But I started, I would like we would keep the drums up in the attic. And I
Yeah.
would go up in the attic and I'd be shedding on the drums with pencils because when I play with the sticks, they say I'm too loud. Well, what do you think? You get drums?
Yes.
Everything is gonna sound like noise till you learn it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
so I got pencils. I got smart enough to get pencils, and
Yeah.
I would practice with the pencils. It wouldn't be as loud, but I was doing good. And my brother saw I was getting good. He was sucking at it. So he told it, that's an older brother, tore
Yeah.
the drums up. Tore the drums. I didn't get to play no more. I
Oh
would just
man.
have to go to my cousin Clarence's house with some pencils and
Yeah.
practice on his shit.
That was unique. That was real unique. I've
Yeah.
talked about straws, some
Right.
but pencils.
Hey,
That's
whatever
that's
it takes, but I practice with pencils and I use the
yeah.
erasers as the tips so it wouldn't be so loud.
All right.
Yeah,
Now
that's what I did. I used pencils.
that's innovative. That's real innovative. That's
Man,
cool.
I'm not knowing I was gonna be an innovator my whole doggone life. But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
but then
man.
that was age 8, and
Uh,
then piano came at 12, and that's what I stuck with, piano. Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. And I've listened to a lot of your music and things that I've seen in your concert series and such, with jazz festivals,
Hmm.
and your energy is like, a singer, even though I know you sing as well too, but the energy
Hmm.
to get into the music, you have this other zone that you're into that I really relate to because,
Hmm.
I'm a drummer as well, and I've been playing music ever since I was
Nice.
5 years old.
Okay.
So I can relate to that, and then to have your energy come into the music and presenting what you're trying to portray and
Yeah.
everything that you do, that's a good spirit,
Hmm.
Sometimes you
No,
don't see
thank
that in musicians, they're just kind of
you.
playing and you don't really see them, really emerge themselves into like that next level of connecting to that spirit feel, what you're doing to bring out that music and the
Yeah.
liveliness that it has.
Hmm.
And you have a lot of
Well,
that with your jazz, and I wanted to know what got you into doing, a lot of the jazz. I really love that album that you have out for, giving the great artists and stuff your what I want to say homage to all those artists. Chick Corea, Ramsey Lewis, George
oh
Duke.
yeah, it's a tribute to the
Yeah,
masters.
yeah, tribute to
Yeah.
the masters.
And actually that's and I just put out a tribute to the Masters remastered edition where and now mind you, that record originally came out on December 1st, 2006. And I just did a remastered version of it, released it last year. I
All
added
right.
2 tunes to it and put it out. Yeah. And I didn't think people would really get into that album because I'm not singing on it.
Yeah.
That's I really did. I didn't think they would get into it because I'm not singing on it. But I ended up getting messages from a lot of people saying, how come you don't do more instrumental stuff? How come you don't push this record? That's a great album, man. It's one of my man. You can sing, but I love this instrumental record. So,
I
so
love
I
it.
ended up adding 2 more songs to it, and I put it out as a tribute to the Masters remastered edition. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate hearing
Yeah.
that. And that's me. That's nobody else on that whole record but me. I programmed everything you hear. That's
Really.
all me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, Bowie
Got
School
some.
Music, right here.
Yeah, I got some tunes that I'm going to be playing on my show. I've already played one of the tunes you did in a concert you did with tribute to Donny Hathaway. I love that.
Yeah, thank
Oh
you.
man, it's and
That's
you sound
all.
like
That's
Donny.
all. That's all my work too. That's all my work too. I did. I recorded that album, mixed it, edited it. That's all my own work. Most of my records is really my own work, with the
Right.
exception. All of my records, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3. And I've got
Uh-huh.
a lot of music out, and it's all me. I record it myself. I do everything by myself.
That's amazing. You got, and this is the time. Definitely, it's a whole different world out here in the music industry. You got to
Yeah,
bust open your own doors. You got to do everything yourself, and don't depend
yeah.
on
You have to.
anybody.
You have to. And I'll tell you. Um, I came into this game mainstream. I came in signed to a major record label. And I went from that major record label to Columbia, another major record label. And not having the odds, well, let me tell you, not having the support and all the odds against me, it
Yeah.
forced me to have to learn all the other jobs that it takes to for a recording artist to have a career. I was forced to learn all these things. I was forced into becoming independent, but I didn't know that God had my life scheduled and prepared in such a way to be prepared for the independent role. All the adversity and all the stuff that I went through prepared me for a time such as this. Because had I come out as a mainstream artist on a mainstream record label, had they put that music out, I would not have been, let's say, inspired to learn all these jobs so that I can have a career today.
Right.
Now, independence, the word independent has become a genre. There was a time where independent was literally the lifestyle for the recording artist, but then it turned into a genre.
Yeah.
It was at one time, people were able to say they were independent because they literally didn't have support.
Right.
But now it's switched so much that now those that have already had support, those that were already pushed by a label and got the exposure at the radio stations and got the exposure on all of the video outlets like such as BET and MTV and all those other TVs, all the T's, they are now no longer with those companies. They're no longer with those record labels. So they jump into this thing called independent. And you got legends that have already had a career they call themselves independent now.
Yes.
So independent has become a genre now where people are saying I'm independent. Yeah, it just means you just don't have a label.
Yeah.
That's what it means. You still have support. Let's just say you don't have a label. You don't have that machine behind you no more, but that machine gave you your push.
Right.
That machine or that system gave you your push. You had the push. You had something to get you out there, to get you your fan base, to get your name out there. Right. But what about a guy like me who's got all the talent, but didn't never ever get the push?
Yeah.
So it's literally a lifestyle for me in the genre of being independent.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? So I never got that push.
Yes.
Yeah, I never got that push from any system that I was with, any company or anything. I never got that. So it's been literally me, God, my wife, my kids, and the fans.
Yes.
That's it. No booking agency. I've been through enough managers, and I learned that I had to be my own manager and learn how to manage my own career.
Right.
And because it's a bad thing when people put on you what they think you are. If you don't know yourself who you are, people gonna put on you what they think you should be.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that can lead you to the poorhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to come out for who you are because they don't know who you are. They want to make like you said, it out to be who they think you should be. And that's not the road. And you will have more followers and more audience out there knowing that you're true to yourself. That's what I get from people that are really doing their own, like you said, independent, artistry, really coming out with it. And I think, I don't know, you may know, since you have played with this person, collaborated with Prince, it seemed like he jumped off on that. Like you said, he had to push for the industry, but he also said, look, now I'm going to break off from this and do what I need to do to be more of who I am instead of for them to control me in this arena, the music industry.
Well, it took for him to have to go through what he went through in the record business. He found out later that he was a slave to the system.
Yeah.
It took for him to have to go through as well in order for him to see it. It took for him to see it rather in order for him to make the moves that he made. It just so happened that I had just not too long become independent when working with him. So I did this album. It's my third album, but the first one I did solely on my own. It's called Straight from the Vault. There's nobody on that but me. I did that whole record. And it got me my first award, Best Album of the Year with SoulTracks.com, which is prestigious. It's pretty big for me. Nice. I was the first to get Best Album of the Year with SoulTracks because they had just started up. So I did that album, and the 1995 bootleg, I ended up selling the record that was being bootlegged that I did for Motown. I ended up making a copy. I ended up buying a copy from them and anonymously ordered it from him and made that my master and started bootlegging my own bootleg. Put him out of business. So it was a
Bootleg to
skinny leg.
bootleg.
And he
Yeah.
was selling it. He was selling it in the UK for 50 pounds for 25 pounds, which was $50 at the time. And
Okay.
he was burning it one at a time and selling them. So I figured if he could do it, I could do it. I can steal for myself and win either way. So
Yeah. There you go.
I put he didn't even have a cover with it. It just said Frank McComb Motown Sessions, but I put some integrity with it. A skinny leg inside of a construction boot. That's all that was on the cover. And it said the 1995 bootleg, Frank McComb. So Prince sees that record and he sees Straight from the Vault. My wife and I are hand packaging the CDs right there in his office at a rehearsal, at a big rehearsal space we were in. And he had a nice size office. So we set up shop right there in his office. And while I'm rehearsing with Prince, she's in the room hand packaging every single CD.
Yeah.
So when we take a break, I go in there and I'm going alongside with her. She get in my case because I'm messing up the stuff, right? She's like, Frank, no, I go this way. And she's like, I'm like, okay. You know, mama is running things, man. I mean, running things, even putting me in check to make sure it's right for the people, you know?
Right.
So Prince walks up and says, what are you guys doing? And I said, I'm running a family business. I got to make these CDs, man, to sell this music.
Yeah.
And not realizing that I was taking the walk that he had already ran, you know, on the same road that he had already ran, you know. So when he saw that I was doing that, he saw the bootleg and asked me what the cover meant. And I told him what it meant. You know, it's a skinny leg inside of a construction boot. The boot represents the fact that the man is working hard to try to make a living. The skinny leg represents the fact that he's starving from his work. And he lost his mind. Next thing I knew, I had interviews coming from somewhere everywhere. And I know they came from him. He just never said it. So it's, you know, looking at the timing of it, you know. But that's when he told me, he said, if you're gonna do this if you're gonna do this independent thing, go all the way with it, man.
Right.
Go all the way, because nobody's gonna look after you like you. He said, another label comes along, you give them a year. If they can't do what needs to be done in a year, do not let nobody take you off of what you already built. You know.
Right.
And that included him. You know,
put some meat on them bones for the skinny legs. That's what the mission was.
Absolutely. You have to put some meat on them bones. So that was the beginning. And then from there, that's when I did a tribute to the Masters. And that was the 5th record, but the 3rd one I had done. I had put under my own imprint, Booby Scoop Music, you know.
Yeah.
So Prince taught me to brand myself. So I got the logo for Booby Scoop. And then the FM, the FM that everybody knows me for is actually my handwritten signature. I wrote that thing in about 1,000 times until I found the right one.
Yeah.
So and I made it my logo.
What does Booby Scoop mean? What does
it mean?
Yeah.
Well, Booby Scoop was my daughter Mari, little UNLV.
Right. Okay.
What happened was my daughter was like a toy to me and my wife. Like she was our first child, first of 2, right? And everything she did just blew us away. Because we love our kids to this day.
Yes. Yeah.
So she was just learning to crawl. And we would put all these toys in the floor, just throw them in the floor. We didn't even have a living room set. We just gave her the whole living room. And I would just dump the toys in the floor. And she knew her toys. This is how smart my daughter is. Yeah. She knew every single toy. She could tell when there was a new toy. So she was learning to crawl. She was just learning to crawl. And she started scooting, right? Just scooting. Now, my wife is telling me, Frank, let me change her diaper. I got to change the diaper. Her little booty was big. It was swole up from the diaper, right? And I said, no, Nisa, wait. I want to see if she find a new toy. She said, boy, give me that baby so I can change the diaper. I don't want her to get no rash. Yeah. I said, it's only going to take a second. And I threw the stuff in the floor, right? I'm all excited. And I put Mari right there in the middle of the floor. And she found that new toy and was scooting, trying to get to that new toy. She was excited. And then Nisa got excited. She said, oh, look at little boots. And that's how I got the name. Now, the other part of the story was in Van Nuys, California, there was the county recorder's office. And I was trying to get a name for the county recorder's office, from the county recorder's office, trying to get a name to start my little company, right? Yeah. I had like 4 or 5 names. I'm making all these trips to the place, and I'm talking to this lady because she's got to run it through the newspaper. You know, it's old school, you know.
Yeah.
And she says, No, baby, these names, I know these names. All right, I've seen this company name. That's not gonna work for you. You need a name that's unique. And I
Uh-huh.
wasn't open minded enough to think of a name. So when my wife said Booby Scoop, look at little Booby Scoop. Ah, that's
That's it.
my name. Okay, take the baby, change the diaper. I gotta go to the daughter's office.
That's it.
That's how
Oh,
I got the name Booby Scoop. And it's spelled BOO, just the way it sounds.
right,
BOOBEE, like Bumblebee, like
right.
a ghost, boo, and
Ooh,
B,
yeah,
Bumblebee, and Scoop,
yeah.
SCOOT, Booby Scoop. And it's
That's
like people are like, what? Booby, do like we did in elementary school. Break it down.
that's right.
Booby Scoop.
Yeah,
It is not
yeah.
that hard. And
Hey,
I took that name. I took that name to that old lady. She saw that name. She said, "Baby, I ain't even gonna look for this. Just here's your shield for California. Take your shield. I
yeah.
got to run it in the paper because by law I got to do it. But ain't nobody. I ain't never heard nothing like that.
No,
And
no.
that's how I got my name.
There's the uniqueness. That's what you got to have, you know. And
Yeah,
usually that's how things come about, you know, when it's just something in your own atmosphere that's happening, you
yeah.
know.
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
great.
definitely. Yeah,
That's, that's
yeah.
great. That's real nice, man. Oh,
And that's how I came up with my publishing name. My publishing name is Curamnar. It's the whole family's name, just all mixed up.
oh,
That's what
okay.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
for my publisher, my music publisher. Yep.
Oh
So that
man.
way I know nobody else on that name. You say you on that name, you're a damn lie. You're a damn lie. You do not own that name. I know you don't know that
That's
name.
right. You said you got the
Yeah,
right
man.
there. You got the rights. Wow.
Oh yeah,
You've
absolutely.
actually went through a lot of things that I was going to ask about you already. So,
That's
um,
cool. Well,
yeah,
create some more.
yeah. Well, back to Donny Hathaway. You know, I know it seems like you got a nice big catalog of influences from Donny Hathaway from me listening to a lot of your tracks. You
Mhm.
know, and Stevie Wonder, of course, too.
You want to know the truth about it?
Mhm.
I'm glad you asked. The truth about it is, as far as the musical influence, the writing, definitely Stevie. Because
Mhm.
Donnie, they didn't release a lot of music that he had written. If you really check out Hathaway's catalog, most of that stuff's covers or was stuff that was written by other people. But
Okay.
as far as Donnie's music, like stuff that he had written,
Hmm.
Atlantic didn't put a lot of his stuff out for whatever reason.
Hmm.
Um, but he was definitely a writer. But
Yeah.
they didn't record a lot of the things that he wrote. Check it
Mm.
out. Go back and check his catalog. So Stevie was definitely a big influence when it came to the writing. He's probably the biggest influence when it comes to the writing. And I will tell you in truth that I never tried to sound like I never tried to sound like Hathaway. Never.
Really?
I'm a
It's just the way
never.
your
I'm a.
voice is, huh?
It's just my voice. I'm a
Yeah.
male version. I'm a male version of my mother, my grandmother, and all of my aunts. I'm the only man in my family singing, and the only one in my generation doing it. So there's no other man to reference me to.
Oh,
So
okay.
and I used to take offense. I used to take offense to it when I was younger, like a teenager. And they would say,
Right.
"Man, you sound just like Stevie. You sound just like Donnie." And
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, these people they telling me I'm trying to sound like him, and I'm me. I have a hard enough time being myself. I ain't trying to be
Yeah.
nobody else. So so I became friends with George Benson at a young age. I've known
Mhm.
George since I was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him about that. And he said to me, he and Hathaway they were really cool. He said, but I'm gonna tell you something. He said, if anybody ever tell you that you sound like a legend, that's one of the biggest compliments they could ever give you.
Hmm.
They could say that you suck, but they're
Yeah.
not saying. He said, think about it, Frank. They're not saying you imitating them. They say you sound like him. Pay
Yeah.
attention to the words. I mean, he sat me down and broke it down to me as a teenager.
Uh-huh.
And I thought about that. I said, yeah, they could say I suck. He said, all right then. And then and then he explained to me that he had the same issue with Wes Montgomery,
Uh-huh.
but he didn't care. He was like, yeah, compare me to Wes. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Compare me to
Yeah.
Wes. So yeah.
Ironically, when you were talking about George Benson there, I was asking my wife, who does he sound like? And I was thinking, of course, Stevie and of course Donnie, and she came out with George Benson. And I said, wow, I really didn't hear that until she said that.
I've had only a few people tell me that. But a lot of people, I think those that do say that or believe it, it could be because of the fact. Well, she might say it because of the tone. Everybody hears things differently.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I sing with the piano a lot though. I sing with the piano just as George would with the guitar.
Right.
And I would at first I would never do it out front. I was just kind of learning to do it and just kind of playing with it because I could hear it in my head. But then I
Yeah.
asked George when I was young. I said, "How is it that you sing what you play and play what you sing so well?" He said, "Frank, it's all from the same brain." He said it's from the same brain. If you can
Yeah.
sing it, train your hand to play it. If you can play it, you train your mouth to sing it. It's
Yeah.
all from the same brain. And
Yeah.
it's like he delivered me because now it's like I just do it to flow. It just flow with it easily for me.
Right.
So, but
Right.
I think my style of playing is because of the way I sing. I was always a singer first. I can't put an ace to singing. I can put an ace to drums and
Yeah.
piano and organ because I play B3 too. And I
Yeah.
can't put an ace to singing. So
Mm.
this I think that helps with my style of playing.
Well, it makes sense, and I hear a lot of, musicians say that too. If you can play it, you can sing it and hear yourself, especially guitar players, having to emulate and sing those notes. I am learning how to play the keyboards, but I don't have a voice, at least I don't think I have a voice. I've sung in some choirs before, but
Mhm.
I guess I haven't found my voice. Maybe that's it too,
Yeah,
but I
could
don't
be,
connect that.
could be. Well, man, I look at it like this. You just might have the potential. I don't underestimate what you could do, but I will say everybody can sing. Some people just don't need to be heard doing it.
That would be me. That would be me.
You might have some potential though. You might have
Yeah,
some potential. Just keep doing it. But we
yeah,
just know some people don't need to.
yeah. Yeah, don't go there,
Like, please, like,
Yeah,
let us do the singing. No, but you might, I don't know. I like to joke and clown, but you might have
yeah,
something there, man. You might have something, you know.
yeah. Like I said,
I
I
just
have.
know a lot of people that don't need to do it, but I just know a lot of people don't need to do it publicly,
Yeah.
especially when it comes down to the national anthem. Lord
Oh,
Jesus.
oh,
Uh,
we don't want to talk about that one.
that's a whole nother bottle of whiskey there, boy.
Yeah. Let's talk about. And this is a group from the past too, Buckshot LaFunk.
Yes, sir.
Oh, tell me more about that group because it was like a group that I had forgotten about, until I was reading up on everything that you
Hmm.
are doing, and then here you are, a part of Buckshot
But
LaFunk.
yeah, yeah. Small world, ain't it?
How did that group come
Small
about?
world.
Especially
Well,
Bradford Marcellus in there. Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was his brainchild, actually. Branford
Yeah.
was working for The Tonight Show at the time. He was a musical director at The Tonight Show for NBC.
Right.
And I had left, it was just as I had left Motown. And I'm just frustrated artist, musician, looking at not getting a fair shake at the label and, the whole
Mhm.
nine. And somebody at the label reached out to me for Steve
Yeah.
McKeever. He sent somebody to deliver a message to me that Branford was looking for a singer for his band, Buckshot LaFunk. I said, Buck the who the what? They were like, it's called Buckshot LaFunk, and he's starting this new eclectic thing, and he's looking for a
Yeah.
singer, and you were highly recommended. So he wants to meet you. I was like, really? Okay, cool. I was like, if it work out, it work out. If it don't, whatever.
Yeah.
That's how bitter I was, right? I didn't
Yeah.
think it'd work out. So I was sent this track by Elton John called Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters. I think he put it out
Mhm.
around 72. But
Mhm.
I got the original from them, and then I got Branford's arrangement of the
Mhm.
song for Buckshot LaFunk from them.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to Elton John's version, and I'm listening to this new version, which sounds nothing like it,
Mhm.
right? Now,
Right.
how am I supposed to take this old country sounding tune and put it in this eclectic groove like this,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm saying to myself, okay, let me study this thing. I studied it, came up with my own thing to make it fit.
Mhm.
Went to some house in the hills that Branford was living in at the time. He wasn't even there. There wasn't no furniture, no nothing. Branford never did LA. He was only there in that house because NBC put him up there. So
Uh,
I go to this house in the hills, and it's this small recording setup, like really small,
yeah.
just for ideas. So the guy engineers me singing the tune as a demo for Branford.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks later, I get a call. Branford wants you to meet him at Sony Studios in Culver City, California. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, cool. So I go to the studio, and he pays me money, and I sing the track. In 45 minutes, I'm done. And Branford says, man, the money that I paid you, I expect to work your ASS all night.
Yeah.
And I looked at Branford and said, well, that's why you pay me the money you paid me, because I can get in and get out, and you could be using that studio time for something else. I come in and get the job done. I do my homework, get the job done, and I'm out. And
Yeah.
we were best of friends
Yeah. Yeah.
ever since.
Lock
So
it.
fast forward to the time for Buckshot to go on the road.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything about going on the road. I just saw doing the record, doing the tune.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this first project, it was just a bunch of musician friends of his that he just called in to play certain stuff. And,
Mhm.
he hears all these songs and he, gets them to come in and he puts it together piece by piece.
Yeah.
When it was time to go on the road, actually, no, let me back up. We had a showcase at some supper club in New York, but we
Mhm.
rehearsed at Third Encore here in LA, but it was in North Hollywood, right?
Right.
And I get this call to meet Branford and the band. Band of musicians rather at the time. It was this bunch of
Right.
cats that had played on the record for this. We get ready to do the supper club, so he wanted everybody that was on the record to be a part of this performance because he wants it to sound just like the record. Oh, he's
Yeah.
no joke when it comes down to the creative side of things. That's why my first album was so great because of him.
Oh.
Letting me be creative. So
Right.
I get to Third Encore. And they're already jamming on a tune called Black Widow Blues. I'm watching everybody as I walk in, and
Mhm.
Branford saw me. I'm like an eagle. I'll come in, and you don't even know I'm there. I
Yeah.
can see everybody, but you can't see me, just like an eagle.
Yeah.
Looking down.
Yeah.
But then Branford finally spotted that I was there, and I'm watching everybody jamming and doing their thing, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I guess I'm gonna be standing up singing because I never told him I played keyboards, but I see
Right.
it's 2 keyboard rigs. And Joey Calderazo's that one, and the other one is just blank. I didn't think it was for me. So
Yeah.
Branford, because I never told him I played. So he
Right.
walks up to me and says, hey, man, that's your keyboard rig, man. Go and check it out, I was like, okay, cool. So I get to play. So I'm watching everybody, and they jamming, and everybody getting all in, right? I said, I'm going to get
Yeah.
in on some, too. So I get
Yeah.
up there, and I start getting in, too, right? So
Yeah.
Branford is like, man, you playing blah, blah, blah. You stop playing blah, blah, blah. You play. So he's screaming on them for playing too much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show them I can hang. But what did he do to me? He
Oh.
screamed on everybody. But he walks up to me,
Uh-huh.
stands behind me. This is my first lesson in discipline. Walks up to me, stands behind me, and puts his hands on my shoulder and speaks in my ear and says, the less you play, the more you say, and walked off. But he's screaming on everybody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
gave me love, gave me favor because I was the new kid on the block. I was the youngest in the band at the time,
Right.
So
Right.
rather than break me, he taught me a serious lesson in that
Yeah.
one day. That's the
Yeah.
first time I'd ever been in a live setting or any kind of rehearsal setting with him. And he gave me a great lesson on discipline. And before I knew it, we played a supper club thing, and then we get a tour landed, right?
Yeah.
So he handpicked and hand chose certain people to take this run, right? And we get on the road, and that's when Buckshot LaFunk was really born. Because
Mhm.
the musicians that went on the road, we were writing songs on that tour. We
Yeah.
coming up with all these ideas on the tour, and Branford ended up taking this small recording rig and having it built into the back of the bus. So as we
Yeah.
came up with ideas, we put them down.
Man.
So we tested some of those songs on the market. We
Yeah.
tested them right out there on the road, and what they cheered for, we kept. What was moderate, we went back to the drawing board, and what they didn't like or respond to, he scrapped. So
Yeah.
we had the ideas, or should I say, Branford had most of the ideas for Music Evolution, the
Mhm.
second album, while we were on the road. So we go into the studio to cut the second album. It took no time to do, but while we were on the road, Branford wakes me up out of my bunk on a tour bus. We're touring Europe, and we all have these bunks, right? And he
Yeah.
wakes me up at like the butt crack of dawn. We're up in Finland somewhere, getting ready for some festival. He wakes me up and pulls me out of my bunk, and we're going from tent to tent looking for a piano. Finally, we get to the tent where the Crusaders was going to play, and Joe Sample, they had a Steinway piano set with Joe Sample on the side. We get to that piano, and I'm like, man, why you got me up so early oh, man, it was like early in the morning. So he said, I got the song, man. I got the song. And then he finally gets to the piano. He goes, dun, dun, dun. Looks at me and says, another day. Dun, 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 dun. And I stopped. And I hit his hands like, B, it's too early in the morning for this, man. What is ton and none and none? What? He said, I don't know, but you're going to help me write it. It's going to be a hit. So we get to Sony Studios in I think we did, it was Sony in New York. And we recorded Another Day. And we finished that song Another Day, went back on the road, and I noticed that the song Another Day was the last song. Like, no, we went on the road and we played it before the record came out. Now we're performing it, and the song is like maybe the fourth song on the set, right?
Right.
We take another break, and we go back out on the road again, and I notice Another Day is the very last song on the set. So I'm like, okay, that's different. So we do the whole show, and we get to Another Day. And the moment I went to Another Day, the whole crowd just went nuts.
Wow.
Nuts. And then that was his way of telling me, because he never told me why he made it the last song. Me being, as far as I felt, an employee in the band.
Right.
Who am I to question? Who am I to question you? That's what you chose. We got to Another Day. I went into Another Day. That crowd went nuts. And then he looks at me and says, congratulations, you got a hit.
What? Oh,
yeah, that's how I found out Another Day was a hit song. Yeah.
He set you up really nice.
Set me up. Yeah.
Oh,
me up
man,
real good.
that's awesome. Now that's an awesome story right there. You didn't know what it was for. You get woken out of your sleep. Sun ain't even up yet.
Yep. Find out it gave me a hit song. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That happened in Amsterdam. It blew up in Amsterdam first.
Really?
In the Netherlands. It blew up there first. Yeah. And then went and it spread. Yeah.
Had anything else happened with any artists like that before? Something, just out of the blue, just all of a sudden now, it's just widespread, just coming up to be marvelous,
With Prince, when I did the NAACP Awards with him, that's the only thing I did publicly with Prince. Everything else was at his home. We had the 3121 parties. We had him at his house.
Oh.
And some of everybody would come through there, man. Stevie, Herbie Hancock, Jamie Foxx, Jill Scott, Alicia Keys, Matthew McConaughey. What's the girl's name? That movie, Legally Blonde. What is that? So that actress's name. Legally Blonde was the name of it. I can't. Reese Witherspoon. She would be there. A lot of people would come through there. Yeah, a lot of people came to that party.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of private parties.
Yeah, and I played all of those parties. My band was the actual band that he was embracing at that time, and he would play in the band like as though he was a member in my unit. He gave me all control and everything.
Really?
I had favor with Prince. Yeah, I had a lot of favor with Prince. He didn't allow photography and things of that nature, but he allowed me.
Right.
He didn't allow the music to get out or nothing, but he couldn't make those rehearsals, and I would be rehearsing the band. He would just send somebody down to pick up a CD. I would record the rehearsals, put them on a CD, give them to the driver, and then take them up to him. And then most of the time, that's for the times he couldn't make the rehearsals, or if he had to be out of town. But he was at most of those rehearsals, and he would come in fully dressed, everything. Fully, completely dressed as though he was playing a concert. And our rehearsals were like playing in concert. But that's the way I've always rehearsed, man. From the time I had my trio back in Cleveland, we rehearsed as though we were playing a gig.
Right. And that's the way it should be done too, to really, you got to feel that same energy as if you had that crowd, Yeah.
Now it's one thing to have the rehearsals and you're teaching stuff and you're learning it, but when you try to perfect it or you really trying to get it to quality standard for your crowd, you can't hold back in rehearsal. I rehearse when rehearsing to this day. I set up all my gear, set up both keyboards, effect pedals, everything, and have my rehearsals as though I would be playing in the concert. Yeah. So because I play the main keyboard parts, but I also play my own auxiliary parts too, horns and strings mainly, and I'm doing them both at the same time. So sometimes I'll play something on that top keyboard that's a cue to the band to let them know that we're going to another part. Yeah, it's not going to sound the same if I'm doing it on the bottom keyboard playing Rhodes or acoustic. They need to hear it from that horn. The horn sound or that string sound that's giving them the cue. So why do a rehearsal on the bottom keyboard with the same sound and say, hey, we're going to go in here, watch for this? No. when we're on that stage, at least the way I see it growing up, you're having a conversation, a musical conversation with those guys on stage.
Right.
So guide them, have the conversation through the music. Why should I be speaking to you on stage saying that we're doing such? That's what rehearsal's for.
Yeah.
You know, I could tell you about it in rehearsal, but when we're playing on the stage, I'm talking to you through the music, which means
Yes.
you got to listen to what I'm saying. Don't tune me out like some people do when you're talking verbally with people.
Yeah.
Pay
Yeah.
attention to what I'm saying. There's one thing to hear me and another thing to listen to me. I need you
Yeah.
to listen to me. I hear the cars outside the window, but I need you to listen to me. You know,
Yeah.
and if you're listening to me, you're going to take in what I'm saying, right? Well, it's the
Yeah.
same thing with music on stage. If I'm playing something, you need to be listening to it, not hearing what I'm doing. You need to listen to what I'm doing. And that way
Exactly.
you'll catch the cue on stage and know to go to the next part. So that's what I do with musicians. I try to teach them in that way or rehearse in that way, because it's a bad look when you're playing, you're in front of an audience and you're saying to the band, okay, we're going in right here. You
Yeah.
just blew the whole element of surprise for the band. For the audience, they're to be
Yeah.
entertained, you
Exactly.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and it takes discipline for that. And a lot of, I hate to say it, but there are a lot of great musicians out here, but there are also a lot of great great instrumentalists, should I say, that
Okay.
and there's a difference. For me, there's a difference of being a great musician and a really great instrumentalist. An
Okay.
instrumentalist to me is one who knows how to play the instrument really, really well.
Yeah.
A musician is one who plays the instrument and know how to pay attention to the surroundings and play it
Right.
properly in the right setting.
Right. Right. To
Yeah,
be able
an
to vibe with
instrumentalist,
everybody and
yeah,
know, well, like you said,
yes,
listening to everybody musically and knowing, like you
mm-hmm.
said, the next change, or even when somebody's ad-libbing and getting ready to do something on the fly,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody can follow that. Yes, I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. And you got
Understand.
to know how to do that. You know, there's one thing to be a drummer and another thing to know how to play the drums.
Yeah.
A drummer brings all the mentality with working with other musicians, but to know how to play it, you can stay at home and play your drums if you don't have no discipline.
Yeah.
The
That's
drummer
true.
has the discipline. The
Yeah.
drummer has the discipline. The one who knows how to play the drums just play the instrument. There's a
Hmm.
difference, you know.
Yeah. That's true, man. You know, it's something I've learned as well too throughout all my time playing, especially
Mm-hmm.
technically being trained and then going into playing with other musicians in all different genres.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's why
It's a
I
it's a
love,
lesson.
yeah, I love being musically inclined, but I love being with musicians.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. But you know, the same applies for singers too.
yeah,
Not every singer is a lead singer. Not every singer is a background singer. You know, not
right,
every singer is a. Let's put it to you this way: not every singer is a vocalist. Right? Think
right,
about it. A
yeah,
vocalist, a vocalist can sing with other vocalists, which means especially background vocalists. You got to
hmm,
know how to speak and listen at the same time.
hmm,
You got to know how to speak and listen at the same time. Think about it, because if you're with three other people and you're all singing together, that's how you blend by
yeah,
listening to them. If you are louder, if you hear yourself more than you hear everybody else, that means you too loud.
yeah,
You know, yeah.
yeah,
And that's why that goes back to that one statement I just made. Everybody can sing, some just don't need to be heard doing it. You know?
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
some singers, man, you know, you got and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. You got a lot of singers out here today. You just know how to sing, but you're not a vocalist. You're not
yeah,
an artist. A vocalist is a singer with art who uses it as an art, not just start opening your mouth and running all over the place.
right,
You
right.
know,
And
I
that you
came up on vocalists like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all those guys,
right.
Nat King Cole. It wasn't about the riffing. It was about the tone of the voice, the
Hmm.
diction, and the simpler you sang it, the more effective you were, because the voice was like another instrument you used
Yes,
with words. You know,
exactly, exactly. What do you think about all of the programs that are out there, like The Voice and the other show that leaves my mind, with
what
Rick
American Idol?
American, yeah, American Idol and all that. What do you think about those shows? With these people coming out and expressing their talent, singing.
Uh, hmm. I just look at it like this. If they really wanted to find some great talent, just go to the band that's backing those people up. Because the singers in that band are cold. Yeah. And I know some of those singers that come through that
Uh-huh.
unit. Um, I also think that those shows are just a way to look for the next artist to
Yeah.
sign to whatever label, because once they win, there's a whole nother system, I'm sure, that they're gonna
Yeah.
have to go through. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
personally, I think they should just go the independent route and keep your freedom.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
you really want to be if you really want to be an artist or singer, do the homework and learn the game, because once you
Uh,
sucked into something and you ain't got the knowledge, they're gonna get you.
mm,
And you will be addressed with a contract and not an agreement, as
uh,
Prince taught me. You don't
yeah.
want you don't want the contract. You want the
Mm,
agreement. You don't want to get conned.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting, you know. I didn't mean to put you on the spot if that was a little difficult to come out with an explanation, but I've always,
Let me tell you something. Ain't nothing too difficult for me. If I want to talk about it, I'll let you know. We good. I ain't scared.
yeah,
I ain't scared.
yeah. What
Yeah,
do you
not at
like
all. I'm
about
not
the
scared.
What do you like about the industry now, and what don't you like about the industry now?
Hmm. I, I will tell you. I just think that what from my point of view, from what I've experienced, there's no togetherness in this game. It's a game. It's not even a music business, because if it was a business and it had some laws to protect us, then we wouldn't be getting ripped off as recording artists all the time.
Yeah.
It's a game. This music business is really a music game. You got to come up with your own rules to your game,
Uh-huh.
or should I say, your own rules in this game, and play by your own rules. Because at the end of the day, there is no structure, no
Yeah.
protection, none of that. So
Mm,
um, I just feel that if you're going to be an artist in this game,
mm-hmm.
just learn the basic do's and don'ts. You
Yeah.
know, the basic do's and don'ts. Learn every job there is to know to the best of your ability. I mean, I ain't the smartest dude in the world, but I'm far from the
Yeah.
dumbest. um,
Yeah.
learn what works for you and make it work for you. You
Yeah.
know, if you wanna have a good living in this game, don't get caught up in what everybody else is doing, because their money not gonna pay your bills.
Yeah.
You know, and your money not gonna pay theirs. And
Mm-hmm.
just don't believe everything you hear either, the flattery and everything, because it'll take you out.
Yeah.
The most This game is filled with the most insecure people. You know, the entertainment field, period, is
Yeah.
filled with very insecure people. We have to feel accepted,
Yeah.
because this is our work. You know, we're putting our work out. It's
Yeah.
coming directly from us. So uh, I say we have to be strong in protecting our feelings and not getting caught up, you
Yeah.
know, into that.
Yeah.
I just feel that for me it's cool, because I feel that for me it's cool because I got my freedom.
Right.
I'm
Right.
free to record my own records. I don't have to go to a recording studio to cut nothing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to go nowhere to depend on anybody to do anything, because, like I said, I was forced into becoming independent. So
Right.
I had to learn all the jobs in this game to sustain in this game, and I've been in this game independently since 2004. And
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is by staying out of everybody else's business.
Yeah.
You know, so
Hey.
it's good for me. It's
Yeah.
really good for me. You know, I got my co-follower. I won't say I'm famous, but I'll say I'm hella popular, and I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. I'm cool with that, because that's what I can handle. And
Right.
until I can handle more, God will give me more. But
Right.
focus on those people that support you, not the ones that don't get it.
Right. Are
So
you
I'm cool.
touring? Are you touring a lot, and or enough to where you feel comfortable in knowing that you're working?
I'm working. I'm definitely working, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to take some of the booking off my hands, let somebody else deal with it, so I can focus more on the music now. Because now I've been booking my own work since I was 17. I'll be
Right.
53 this year, and it's time for somebody else to take that on, because this is what I want to do now. My heart is on just focusing more on the music. This is what
Yeah.
I want to do. But don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Roll these sleeves up, and get out
Mm-hmm.
there and do what needs to be done. I'm not afraid of it. That's how I started. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been doing it this way for a long time. But in my case, being independent, I have to keep the balance. I have to work just enough on the road. Then I got to come home, do some recording. But when
Right.
I record at home, I take all the files on the road and do all my mixing and mastering on the road, my editing, mixing and mastering. So I'm still touring and doing my editing and stuff. I've got a
Okay.
microphone I can travel with. I got Logic in my computer. I take keyboards with me all the time. So I'm really mobile with my
Yeah.
studio as well. So I keep that busy, but I have to allow time for that. Then I
Yeah.
still have to allow time to write. I got to allow time for my radio show, Frank McComb's Living Room. Then
Mhm.
I have to have time to still see my daughter in Vegas, spend time with my daughter, my son, and
Right.
still be a husband to my wife. So
Yeah.
it's a lot going on. So if I do too much in this area, all of this is going to fall off. If I do
Yeah.
too much in this area, everything over here.
Go
So
fall. Yeah.
balance, balance is not the
Balance,
easiest
balance,
thing for most
balance.
of us men, but it's
Yes.
definitely balance. Definitely balance.
Hey,
Yeah,
I feel you. I feel you.
yeah,
That's great though. Yeah, you got to do you. You got to do
yeah.
you.
But
And
it's definitely time to get somebody to take over on the bookings because that way I really want to focus more on the music. I
uh-huh.
do and let somebody else do the dates.
Are
That's what I
you
like to do.
are you interested in producing anybody
I
or
have, I have. I
mhm.
did. I produced Najee. I got music on one of his records, and he's on mine. I just produced my first house tune outside of myself on
Yeah,
Mason on her new project,
nice.
Music for Your Soul. I've got a house tune on there called His Love. It was originally called This Love, and I wrote it years ago when I was
Right.
at Motown, and I thought I was going to put it on that album, but
Hmm.
I kept it in the vault, and we rewrote the lyrics and put it on her record. I did a
Nice.
project for BB King's granddaughter, Val B. King, did her whole project. Um, Penny Wells out
Hmm.
of Detroit, I did a tune for her. And this is just last year. Those songs were on a few charts along with my own songs. So I had songs on the charts as an artist, but I had songs on the chart as a producer on other artists on the same chart.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice,
yeah, so
nice,
I definitely produce for others. I produce for others, definitely. And I'm
nice.
also always looking out for the up and coming indie who needs the support. You
Yeah.
know, I don't charge them what I would normally charge anybody to do a project for them because they need the support, they need the help. I got to keep my bills and paid and my lights on and things too. So
Right.
I tell them, invest in yourself. Put up a little money and invest in yourself. Keep my light bill paid or something.
Hmm.
And I'll help you get your music done. It's
Yeah.
an exchange. I just don't charge them what I would normally charge other people.
Right. Right.
I've done stuff for Fred Hammond, for John P. Key. Yeah, I've done
Mhm.
production on others. I have. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, it looks like you got your hands full. You're busy enough to know, like you said, you're keeping the lights on.
Yeah, trying to.
I know it's sometimes when I think
Absolutely.
about doing, and I'm not as active as I would like to be musically as well too. I want to get back to that point, where I can stay busy.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes it's like, man, do I really want to, dive in and move like this, or I
Right.
can't stop. I can't stop.
Right. Right.
The music doesn't allow you to stop. If it's inside you, if
Yeah.
it's embedded into you, that's who
Yeah.
you are.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's when you're born to do it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime anytime you know that you can do it at home without being paid, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
Then
Exactly.
that's what you're called to do. So,
Yeah.
but it's definitely my living because I've been blessed to make a living doing what I love to do, which is not something everybody can say
Mhm.
that they have.
That's
But
true. That's
I'm
true.
blessed, man. But at the same time, I know this is what I was called to do because I've never worked a job. I've never had a job in my life. I tried working one, and it just didn't work.
It didn't work.
But as far as it
Yeah.
just didn't work. It didn't work out.
Well,
But
hey,
I've never had a 9 to 5 ever.
really,
Like
that's
no,
awesome.
no.
That's all. That is a blessing. That is a blessing.
I worked for one day in my life, and I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got off the train real fast, and it's nothing against anybody else.
Yeah.
Um, it's nothing against because without the public and without the regular everyday worker, I wouldn't have a career because those are the supporters. Those are the real
Yeah.
people. You
Exactly.
know, yeah, that's where it's at. So,
Are you noticed when you're out in the public a lot?
a lot in Europe. It's starting to happen in America now. Yeah,
Uh,
it's starting to happen in America. Let me tell you something. I
mhm.
was at Starbucks with my wife. Let me tell you what happened. Uh, I put on some clothes. I look like a bum, and I told her. No, she said, "Frank, you going out in that?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just going to Starbucks." She
Yeah.
said, "Frank, come on, man, you got to dress a little better than that. Come on." I said, "It's just Starbucks around the corner." She said,
Yeah.
"One of these days," she said, "one of these days, somebody gonna recognize you and they're gonna talk about it." I said, "Whatever. Nah, we ain't in Europe. We're not in the UK. They
Yeah.
no, that ain't gonna happen for me here."
Yeah.
It just so happened that same thing. We went to that Starbucks, and when we got to that Starbucks, we
Mhm.
ordered, got our drinks, and left. And about 2, 3 hours later, it was on Twitter. I think
Oh.
I just saw Frank McComb at Starbucks.
Wow.
I almost didn't want to tell her because I didn't want to hear I told you so. But
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
so right. Now I'm more conscious. I'm self-conscious now. I don't walk out the house looking like a bum no more.
Uh,
Yeah. So you
they'll
just
get
never know. You
you.
never know. But it's happened to me a few times. I'm walking, we have an outdoor mall not far from where I live. We were walking around the mall
Yeah.
and somebody put it online. I just saw Frank McComb walk past Macy's or something. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm more careful now. Yeah.
Hey, you never
Mm-hmm.
know. You never know.
Never know. Never know.
And it's a good thing, and and like you said, social media can either make you look good or make you look bad.
Yeah. Yep. Now it's all in how you put yourself out there. But on top of
Yep.
that, you don't
Yep.
want to endorse. You don't
No,
want to endorse the bad.
exact.
We
No,
can we
no.
can kind of control it by the way we handle ourselves with it.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't
You
me.
know,
It wasn't me.
right, Shaggy? Right?
Uh-huh.
I know
Oh
that's right.
yeah, man. What has been, I guess, the biggest highlight of your career?
Hmm, that's a good one. I've had a few. Um, Definitely Prince being one. You
Hmm.
know, the NAACP awards with him. That's one. Um, just and then winning any kind of award for my work because it shows the recognition. Like I just got with the Indie Soul Awards, the fifth
Hmm.
annual Indie Soul Awards just gave me Male Artist of the Year for a song called "We Were Made for Us." I just got this award not even a month ago.
Oh, nice.
Um, then there was the award for Straight from the Vault, for Straight from the Vault from SoulTracks.com. That was the first award I ever won, and it was
Wow.
for a project that I did everything myself on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, just going to South Africa was great. Going to Jerusalem was great. That's a highlight one.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
December last year, yeah, there's a school called the Ramon School of Music in Tel Aviv that
Okay.
brought me to their school
Hmm.
for seminars. Like all that week, I had a seminar for piano, a seminar for vocals, a seminar for recording, for songwriting. Each day was a different seminar. And then at the end of the week, there was a concert with their students, like with two students, a bass player and a drummer.
Right.
Um, I actually taught. I actually had to teach them a lesson. You know, I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but I had to teach them a lesson in
Hmm.
that. So I was still teaching even with that. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
drummer called. The drummer called because they weren't prepared. They were cocky, especially the bass player. So the
Uh,
drummer caught on, and he came and got it right with me. But the bass player was still. There's a difference between goats and sheep.
yeah.
you know, and the drummer became a sheep, and the bass player was still a little goat. You know,
Uh,
so I had to teach him a lesson. And
yeah.
now it's going around the school that this bass player who was cocky and everybody knew him to be a cocky, this bass player messed up the gig with Frank McComb. Now that's the stench he's got on him because he wouldn't humble himself.
Right. Right.
So, but that, going there to work with that school was a big highlight for me. And then the last day we were there, my wife and I ended up going to Jerusalem. And we had
Hmm.
never been before. And we literally walked the same path that Jesus took carrying the cross. And when I tell you it was not easy, it was
Wow.
not easy. He
Oh,
had the cross on his back. I just had a backpack. We slept for the whole day when we got back.
wow.
Yeah. And it was
That's
all uphill. It's
That's
all
amazing.
uphill. So, and I've got footage and everything, you know, and just tell people I have a
Yeah.
Patreon account. $20 a month, you get backstage access, exclusive backstage access to my career. You know,
Hmm.
you become a patron and you give them, set up a Patreon, set up a credit card with Patreon and charge you $20 a month. And I'm
Yeah.
literally capturing footage, putting it together myself and making
Yeah.
my own little videos. I'm not saying I'm putting a clip up here. This is how I sing.
Yeah.
Lord, no, no,
Mhm.
no. You can see how I sing in concert,
Yeah.
but people
Yeah.
want to see what you're doing behind closed doors. So I actually invite them to my trips, and I record the stuff. I've edited and everything on my computer. I put words up or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's footage that I know they can't get. Nobody can get it. And I
Right.
put this footage. I don't even share it with the public. I don't share it on YouTube. It's strictly for my patrons on Patreon,
Right.
and they pay $20 a month. And I've got my trip to Jerusalem, part 1 and part 2 on there. So if you want to check it out, become a
Yeah.
patron, $20 a month, and thanks for your support in advance. And there's stuff up there that would really shock some people.
Oh man, that's
Oh yeah.
awesome. That's an eye opener. I really appreciate you mentioning that because I'm definitely interested. You know, it
You
is.
should go, and don't go with a church group. Don't go with a church group. Go with some friends or make it a personal trip. Don't go with a church group because they're only gonna tell you so much. You're only gonna see so much. You
Right.
need to go and really see. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Get it all
Yeah,
in for
it's
yourself.
more. It's more in depth without having the touristic kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, this has been such an awesome time with you, man. I really enjoyed
Oh, thanks,
everything
bro.
that you spoke about, and I appreciate you again for wanting to come into my world here, the flavor of jazz cuisine. I'm CD the Doctor,
Yes,
all
sir.
for your mental appetite. And I
Yes,
want you to
sir.
go
That's
ahead and
nice.
mention all your social media connections to where people can find you and listen to all your music and so forth.
Yeah, I got a one-stop shop. It's Frank McComb Music, FrankMcComb Music.com. There you'll find my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter. Those are really the only 3 I have time to keep up with. My
Mm,
apparel, where to get my FM hats and my booby scoot hats and sweaters and
yeah.
everything. My radio show, it's there. Frank McComb's Living Room for Jazz Beats Radio. And
Oh,
it's just everything Frank McComb. My Patreon is there. Everything is there. FrankMcCombMusic.com. My where to get music, Bandcamp, it's all there. Yeah, it's
oh,
all there.
oh, man, awesome. That is great, man. And I love those hats too. I remember when I was looking at you out there at NAM and stuff. Man, you got the
Yeah.
initial there, and it's all
Yep.
bling. That's fire, man. That's fire. That's so cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
That's cool. Yeah, you
Oh
you
yeah.
definitely got the branding thing happening. Definitely.
Yeah, I can thank Prince for that because he's the one that told me to brand. He said, brand yourself because the
Yeah.
moment an artist signs to a label, the moment an artist signs to a label,
Yeah.
that's what they become.
Yeah.
Products.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what they become. Products. And that's what they become.
Product. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I keep snacks in my studio.
Yeah. Yeah. You ain't coming out of there
Yeah.
for a while.
Hey.
Where's he
Hey,
at?
you know?
He's in the studio. Locked
Well,
down.
just find the wheat thins. You'll find them.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to keep a trail of wheat thins down there so everybody can find it. Just follow the wheat thins.
I bet you, I know you got a little refrigerator somewhere in there, don't you?
It's right there. Everything's on top of it. It's
Yeah.
right there. It sure is.
That's
Right there.
cool. I'm gonna let everybody
Oh, yeah.
see this logo right here. We'll move out the way just a little bit so you
That's
can.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's who we listening to. That's where we at.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All about the flavor
Okay.
and everybody that's following you. And we're gonna stay in touch. You know,
Okay.
we gotta
All
stay in
good.
touch because I go to NAM just about every year. I try to make
Okay.
it, and
I'm sure I'll be there. Between
Yeah.
Rhodes, Korg, and QSC, I'll be there because I endorse the QSC Touch Mix Mixer.
Okay.
Korg, this is the Chronos here. And
Okay.
we worked on this piano here. I developed two Wurlitzers and a Fender Rhodes for the Chord Kronos. And I talked the company into naming the patches after me and everybody else that worked on it. So
Okay.
me, Herbie Hancock, Lyle Mays, Russell Ferrante,
Oh, nice.
George Duke, all of us are in this. All of our names are in this keyboard. Name
Okay.
all of the patches named after us because the squeaky wheel got the oil.
Oh, right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I asked for it and I got it. So my name is in there more than everybody else's because I did three patches. They only did one or two. I think
Uh,
George did two. Everybody else did one. I
oh,
got three.
you got three.
So
All
between
right.
QSC, Korg, and Rhodes, I'll be in them because I'm endorsing the Mark 8. Yeah, the
Nice.
MK8. Yeah, I'm helping to endorse that thing too. So
Oh,
yeah. That's
awesome.
not too bad for a guy who could never get an endorsement for years, man. I couldn't get an endorsement with anybody. And I'll tell you something else is funny. For all you microphone companies out there, I'm endorsing everything but a microphone. I do not have a microphone endorsement. Isn't that crazy?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Come on with it. I'm
Here,
here.
yeah.
Lyman, where you at? AKG, where you at?
Yeah,
Sure. Where you
it's
at?
coming. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm here. Sennheiser.
yeah.
Yeah,
You put it out
I'm
there,
here.
they will come. They will
I'm
come.
here.
Man,
Yep.
awesome. I'm going to actually sign off with this. You've been enjoying everything right here on the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine interview with Frank McComb, the Frank McComb of centuries. You know, he's getting ready to go
Right?
through another century here, man.
Let's go.
He's on
Let's go.
fire. He's on
Let's
fire. I
go.
love it, man. I love it. This has been so
Wow.
nice. As I said before, I'm CD the Doctor, the Flavor of Jazz Cuisine, and we're going to cut with this. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. It was a beautiful interview. Thank you so much, sir.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks for the platform, bro.
Oh,
Appreciate you.